Last tribal council was pretty full on, and I would say that that was somewhere between partly and mostly my fault. Um, Going into the vote, we had 4 fans versus 4 favourites. So we always knew that it was kind of going to be a big one, and that a tie vote could be a real possibility. Trace and I, of course, have our alliance with Phil and Molly. So when we lost, we were talking it through with them, trying to figure out who we should vote out and what will be best for that alliance that we're kind of trying to hide from people. And Trace and I were kind of thinking the best thing that we can do is to try and get them to vote out a favourite. That way we still have numbers with the fans and we still kind of have options, rather than just voting out a fan and then being at the mercy of Phil and Molly, who, Phil's played before, and it would be just kind of sad to go into a situation where we had such a blatant opportunity for a flipper in Molly and to not take advantage of it. So what Phil and Molly wanted us to do was to tie the vote the first time with 4 votes on Christy and 4 votes on whoever the fans wanted to vote for. And then I would flip on the revote. And as much as me and Trace tried to push for Jamin or Austin, Phil and Molly weren't really having it. They really wanted to keep the tribe strong, which I totally understand, but of course that does just look like they're trying to protect the other favourites. So I was up all night trying to figure out what to do, what my priorities were, what my options were, and how to make the best of the situation. And I decided that my priority overall, more so than keeping myself in the game, was to make sure that as many fans as possible got through this vote, including Molly, because she is a potential flipper, and a way for us to kind of gain numbers. So I thought the best way for us to do that would be to tie the vote between Christy and whoever we thought that Molly would be the most likely to flip on, and tell Molly and Phil that I would be willing to flip on Christy at the revote, and then after the vote was tied, tell Molly that I'm not flipping my vote and neither are any of the other fans, and that she should flip her vote out a favourite and come with the fans. So that's what we did. I talked it through with Trace and he was on board with the idea. I told the fans that I was pretty sure I was going to be able to get Molly to flip. So we decided that we would vote for Austin because we thought that that would be the person Molly would be the most likely to flip on. She was really concerned about the strength of the tribe and that kind of thing when me and Trace and Phil and her were talking. So, Jamin's a really strong asset in challenges, so we figured we'd go for Austin. So we had tribal council and the vote was 4-4 Austin to Christy, and as soon as the first round of voting was done, I messaged Molly and said, I'm not changing my vote to Christy. I never was. Neither are the other fans. We're all willing to go to Rocks to keep fans in, including you. I think you should flip your vote. And I gave her the pitch on, kind of the narrative that it would tell, and that we didn't want to crumble to the favourites and all this kind of stuff. So I gave her my pitch and I said, it's up to you. You're a smart girl, you'll make the decision that's right for your game. And she was shocked. She was angry. She said, why couldn't it have been Jamin? At which point my entire game started to crumble because we thought that she would be more likely to flip on Jamin, but she said no, Austin was the first person who was nice to me when I got here, and she didn't want to vote out Austin, and I'd gotten the read on it completely wrong, and the votes were already on Austin and Christy. That was the only people that we could vote for, and I'd already submitted my vote for Austin. So, and Austin was messaging me saying, Jessie, please, I'm begging you, and it was really, really stressful. So it took about maybe three and a half, almost 4 hours of me talking to Molly and Trace talking to Molly and me and Trace talking and some of us talking to Phil. And in the end, we managed to get Molly to flip. But, Austin has gone home. A favourite went home and Molly voted with us and all the fans are still in the game, and I should feel like that's the best case scenario. That's what we wanted out of this move, but Molly says that she was intending to be true to the alliance of myself, Phil, Trace, and her, which I just had no evidence of and no reason to trust them, because they weren't willing to vote out a favourite. So I feel like I kind of ended up playing the villain role last round, and that I've copped a lot more of the flack than Trace for it. So moving forward, I said to Molly, you have a place 100% with the fans, we're not voting you out, and Trace and I will take you further than the other fans. And she said, I want Phil to still be with us, I still want this 4-person alliance. And now that me and Trace are kind of in a position of power, there's no harm in having more allies on our side. So it's just, I think at this point the decision is between siding with the fans, so that's me, Trace, Matt and Christy, or siding with this secret fans' favourite alliance of Phil, Molly, Trace and I. And I think at this stage we are leaning towards Phil and Molly. I like the idea of a secret alliance. I like the people in it. We're strategizing every night and have a really good time with them, but I feel like they now have a perfectly justified reason to blindside me, and they will cop absolutely no flack for it because I pulled this big stupid move. So I'm really, really nervous, but I do have options. A favourite was just voted out on the Morotai tribe, so fans have a huge numbers advantage. Of the 8 people that have gone home, only 2 of them have been fans, so I feel like I am in a good position in the game, but I have put myself in kind of a big mover's role, which is good for when you're sitting at the final tribal council, but not so good when you're trying to get people to trust you. So I don't know what's going to happen. Yeah, we'll see. I'm hopeful.